Jack.
I don't know if many people will agree, but William Gibson's Neuromancer novel is one of the best in the genre for me. That being said, I also felt that the novel was nearly impossible to be filmed. So imagine my surprise when Apple TV announced the TV series based on the same. If you are a cyberpunk fan, these are exciting times for you. The first teaser trailer of Neuromancer is promising enough to wait for the show, and it was recently unveiled at San Diego Comic-Con. Back in 1984, William Gibson nearly redefined the cyberpunk genre, and as you can imagine, the expectations are going to be sky high for the TV adaptation. With Graham Roland as the showrunner and Callum Turner as the main lead, the show is set to have 10 episodes to dive into this cyberpunk insanity. Now, there are certain things that I can confirm from the trailer footage alone, which are accurate with the novel, and in this video, I will explore 10 such things that you can expect from the TV series. The location of Chiba City, Japan remains the same. This is something that had to be in line with the novel because changing the setting would have been disastrous. I was thrilled to see that much of the trailer is set in what appears to be the show's version of Chiba City, Japan, and from the looks of it, the production design is rather impressive. The city comes alive with all the neon signs, crowded streets, and even the architecture is what you would expect according to the source material. It is great to see that Apple is preserving one of the book's most iconic locations, and I would have it no other way. The cyberpunk theme goes well with the detailing of Chiba City, and the protagonist, Case, falls right into the story that is set in this twisted futuristic world. Case, the protagonist, played by Callum Turner. I think it would be fair to say that the original novel was largely character-driven, and Case, as the protagonist, was someone you could root for. He was a low-level hustler in the underworld of Chiba City, and he was a talented computer hacker who was caught stealing from his employer and got his central nervous system damaged so that he could no longer use a neural link to cyberspace. The story revolves around him, and from the teaser it is quite evident that the show is heading in the same direction. Callum Turner plays the role of Case, and the quick shot of him sitting on a bench in a neon-lit Chiba City hits hard as he gazes out ahead and says, "What am I doing here?" It is comforting to know that the casting choice is just perfect, because if I had to put a face to Case, Callum Turner would be the right fit. The ones who have read the novel will tell you that Case is one of the most loved characters in the genre, and I have full faith in Turner to do justice to the role. The showrunner, Graham Roland, said during an interview that the casting choice was all about finding someone who had the charisma to carry 10 episodes and also explore the rougher and darker sides of the character. Somehow, even the quick glimpse of Callum Turner as Case is convincing enough that he is going to carry the role. Molly is Case's partner. So let me tell you a little something about Molly in the original novel. Case, who has been reduced to a low-level hustler after losing his job, is approached by Molly, who is an augment razor girl and a skilled mercenary. She works under a shadowy U.S. ex-military officer named Armitage, and she offers to cure Case of his condition in exchange for his services as a hacker. Later, Armitage gets Case and Molly to steal a ROM module that has a personality module of a legendary hacker, McCoy Pauly, who happened to be Case's mentor. Soon, Case and Molly realize that things are suspicious, and they begin investigating Armitage, only to discover a whole new story. I am glad that the TV adaptation is going to retain the best bits, and Molly is definitely the partner that you will see working with Case. Brianna Middleton plays the role of Molly in the show, and she is a very important secondary character who is an integral part of the story. The synopsis for the series has already confirmed that Case and Molly will be the two central characters, and it will be like a cyberpunk mystery that is as character-based as the original novel. They will have to work together through digital espionage and high-stakes crime, and I am just curious to see how much of Molly the show can recreate. Which brings me to my next point. The teaser footage makes it clear that Brianna can match the energy of Turner, which is all we need for their chemistry to work as partners in crime. Molly has mirrored eyes. This is a detail that those who are familiar with the books will know about. Molly has mirrored eyes, which goes well with her character. In fact, there is part of the story where a psychopathic police spy and holographic illusionist named Peter Riviera smashes one of Molly's eye augmentations. So, you see, the mirrored eyes have a significance in the overall story as well. It was a nice little homage to the fans when Apple's original announcement for the show specifically mentioned Molly as a razor girl assassin with mirrored eyes. This means that you'll get to see one of the character's most recognizable cybernetic features, and I am just curious to see if the other details about Molly are also followed. Even though Apple has confirmed the razor girl identity, There have been no details on the mechanics of the TV series, and I hope that the details of her retractable razors will also work like the book. As of now, we have seen a few shots of Brianna Middleton's eyes in the teaser, and the shot from up close looks unsettling. These surgical implants in the character cannot be removed, and aside from her razor eyes, it was heartening to see a flash of her razor fingernails in what appears to be a fight scene. Armitage is the mysterious employer. Who can forget Armitage from the story as an intriguing antagonist who starts off as the mysterious employer who hires the services of Case through Molly? His deception is discovered soon enough when Case finds out that his cure has been sabotaged with a time-delayed poison. If he completes the mission, then Armitage will disarm the poison, and if he fails, he will find himself crippled again. More is revealed about Armitage later when Case and Molly investigate him further after being suspicious about the nature of the job. They discover that Armitage is actually Colonel Willis Corto, who is the only survivor of the failed anti-Soviet mission called Screaming Fist. He was later returned to the United States for extensive psychotherapy and reconstructive surgery, and he snapped after he found out that the government knew that the mission would fail and still went ahead with it. He killed his handler and disappeared into the underworld and later resurfaced as Armitage. So you get a fair idea of who we are dealing with here. Mark Strong plays the role of Armitage in the show, and the teaser footage shows him speaking prominently as he talks about giving Case a purpose. I think he adds a lot of value to the intriguing character. I expect to see the best of Armitage in the show, given how he gives the cruel twist to the story. The bar Chatsubo reference. This is a blink-and-you-miss moment, so only the careful eyes must have caught on to this detail. There is a scene featuring the streets of Chiba City, where you can see what I can only describe as the show's version of bar Chatsubo. This is the grimy expat bar where Case spends a lot of time during the opening chapters of the novel. He is a guy who has gone through a lot, and now he just sits there and drinks too much as he deals with people that should definitely not be trusted. The vibe of bar Chatsubo was exactly like you would expect, and it was a lowly lit and neon-signed place where people who have strayed from their motivations find solace. I know this is not a very big detail that has been retained for the TV series, but I still find it comforting to see that the showrunner has paid attention to such minor plot points that are easy to lose in a TV adaptation. It just makes me confident that the bigger details will be in place if such aspects are retained for the fans. Dane DeHaan as Riviera. I have already spoken to you about a scene from the story where Peter Riviera damages Molly's eye augmentation. Well, he is quite a character, a psychotic sadist who is an expert when it comes to projecting holographic illusions. I think he is probably one of the most unsettling characters introduced by the author, and I love it that the show is keeping his story intact. The teaser gives us a glimpse of Dane DeHaan, who plays the role of Peter Riviera, and I can promise you a lot of madness associated with this character. For instance, aside from damaging Molly's eye, Riviera also attempts to shoot Case with Molly's needle gun and ends up hitting the ninja bodyguard Hideo instead. Now, here's a spoiler from the novel, and if you don't want it, then you can just skip 10 seconds ahead. However, even though Riviera manages to escape, it is Molly who gives us the twist in the novel when she says that he is doomed because she has spiked his drugs with a lethal toxin. Now, I don't expect the show to follow every part of the original story like a sacred text, but honestly, I wouldn't mind if this part is recreated for the series. Hideo, the professional bodyguard. You know how there are these side characters who end up being memorable? Well, Hideo happens to be one of them in the original novel, and I am glad to see that the character will be featured in the TV adaptation as well. The role is played by Joseph Lee, and the production has described him as a professional bodyguard. Now, let me give you the details that you will need if you haven't read the novel. Hideo is a vat-grown ninja assassin who serves as a bodyguard for the Tessier-Ashpool family. He primarily serves under 3 Jane in the novel, and I don't expect that to change in the show as well. His entry into the story will be in the climactic moments, and he becomes a direct threat to Case and Molly during the intense final confrontation. This genetically engineered bodyguard will bring in some jaw-dropping action scenes for sure, and in the novel we have known him to be deadly precise with his bow, even when he is blinded. The fight scenes stand out with futuristic weapons and violent action. You know, a novel is good when even the written action scenes come alive in front of your eyes. As for Neuromancer, There are some moments from the story that I always wanted to see on TV, and I guess it is time for my wish to be fulfilled. There are quite a few action sequences cut into the teaser, and I love how rough and raw they look. One particular scene that stands out for me is the one where Case runs through the city and falls on the ground bloody. Even Molly can be spotted in some close-quarters combat sequences that look quite intimidating. The first teaser is quick to show some dangerous futuristic weapons, and there are several fast and action-heavy images. The futuristic cityscape is matched by these terrifying weapons, and I am quite confident that the TV adaptation will combine the thrill of digital espionage and hacking with some serious physical action. It is all very fitting because, you see, the story is about a few desperate people doing dangerous things in a world that is hostile, and the tone of the scenes tells me that the showrunner has it all figured out. Dixie Flatline's inclusion comes as a surprise. It has been confirmed that Mark Menchaca plays Dixie Flatline, which is one of the most unexpected supporting presences in the original story. I find his inclusion in the show quite significant because it means that the show is not scared of embracing the stranger ideas of the book. As I have said before in this video, McCoy Pauly was one of the most famous hackers and Case's mentor, and he earned the name Dixie Flatline. Now, at the time of the events of the story, Pauly is physically dead, but his mind still lives on as a commercial ROM construct that Case and Molly are assigned to steal. Without spoiling it all, I can say that you will definitely enjoy this quirky character in the mix of things. Multiple members of the Tessier-Ashpool world. This is definitely an interesting piece of information for the fans of the book, because at least 3 characters connected to the Tessier-Ashpool side of the story have been confirmed. They are Peter Sarsgaard as John Ashpool, Clemence Posey as Marie-France Tessier, and Max Irons as Jean Tessier-Ashpool. I think this is a solid confirmation about the strange and powerful family dynasty that we will see in the TV adaptation, and even though Apple is yet to confirm the complete storyline, this is another indication that the makers are not looking to stray too far from the source material. Lastly, it is worth noting that Julius Dean and Linda Lee are also confirmed characters, and Andre de Shields and Emma Laird play the roles respectively. I am quite excited to see a part of my childhood get adapted for a big-budget TV series. I think that if the showrunner handles the story well, this might just be one of the best sci-fi shows in recent times. The characters, the depth of the narrative, and the scope to use the visuals to amplify the experience add to a cult classic, and I cannot wait for the release to binge-watch this as fast as I can. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the teaser and confirmed bits of Neuromancer TV series, and also share your expectations from the show. If you appreciate the efforts to bring you this content, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more such videos.